You don't often see street circuits on iRacing. It's been something that iRacing has taken a lot of time to, I would say, coerce people in. This is not the easiest track in the world to start with, but it's one which IndyCar has time and again gone to and proven this is a tough track by every means of imagination. I mean, let's just take the leader of General Motors, for example, putting the safety car in the wall at turn number 2 as a prime example. The Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle is a truly difficult circuit. And for these drivers today, here in this iRacing Grand Prix Series, 53 laps awaits them from what is a really, really tough battleground here today. I'm Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Scott Fountain-Fonte here in the commentary box as we get ourselves preparing for racing action. 27 drivers as we zoom on in up to Detroit, and the boundaries, you could say, between all of the actions in what is Canada and what is the United States of America. They can see Milwaukee as we move on down here to Detroit and the Belle Isle circuit on the island here. And of course, Scott, you've got your own fountain.
Yes, I do. Yes, it's quite special to have something in iRacing. That's a unique part of history. But yeah, no, this circuit is a fantastic racetrack, and certainly no room for error. I absolutely love it. Never driven one of these cars around here, but certainly done plenty of laps in the old Skip Barber around this place, and you have to be very committed and know where your limits are, or you find yourself in the wall very easily, and these cars aren't very forgiving when it comes to touching something, so I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action unfolding tonight.
Yeah, and first times coming in on the board, Matt Wood, currently the fastest on a 107.9, but 3.8 kilometers there or thereabouts. It's only 125 meters towards turn number 1. I'd say that is a pretty nice soft 9-iron going towards turn number 1 if you get things all nicely moving forward. But those first times are going to be creeping in on the board, and this is going to be a tough qualifying as well. Track position around this place is so important, but it is so easy just to run off into the walls at any given point. This is effectively, at this moment in time, Fonte, iRacing's Monaco.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Very, very tough place, and turn 2 especially, you come along. We're going to see it just coming up here with Matt Wood through turn 1, and then this long left-hander. Now that wall on the outside there bites very, very easily, and I'm sure we're going to see a few people get claimed by that today.
Yeah, and at the moment, there is your championship leader, 101 points the margin for Matteo Ugolotti, as we just take a little flick on over to Christoph Montz in the number 5, making that drive then here on Strand Drive 1. What I like to call the 7-11 complex here through 7 into turn number 8, and these next two lefts of 9 and 10, you're always trying to keep the car poised before turn 11 here on Strand Drive 2, and a big wiggle on the exit there for the Phoenix Racing drivers. The challenge moves on forward to try and gain that time as much as you can through these very tough final 2 corners. You got this big blast all the way over to the start finish line and over the line to 108.8, good enough for 8th place.
Yeah, there we go. Not a bad lap from Christopher Montz. You're exactly right, Sperry. These not one corner on this track is easy, and there we go. We see Matteo Ugolotti puts it into the wall on his first lap, I believe that was.
Yeah.
So not a great way for him to start. I don't know if he's got enough time to do another one.
Well, let's see. He's going to go out anyway. It's a 1:08 out there for a lap. John Atkinson Jr. having a little bit of a moment. There is Mark Van Dalen then looking for a bit of a drive right now. You cannot miss that car in the sun, as there is Christian Steele as well, looking to try and make a bit of progress in the number 4 through that right of turn number 12 into 13, and then that small kink 14, which leads over to the line. Very difficult to pick out your braking point here, but a 108.9 from Steele. Good enough then for 9th position. They're not bad in terms of a time, but we are down now inside the final 2 minutes as we see one driver pulling it off the road. There is Ugolotti, who still has that one extra lap in the books. Only Toffoli and John Pat Kelly have lapped along with Ugolotti left. So Ugolotti with it all to do. Last place he wants to be starting right now here in qualifying is P20 by iRacing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I don't think we would have seen that if it is the case, but I'm sure he'll put a safe bank lap in here as he comes screaming down the track. Championship points up on screen there, Sperry.
Yeah, 18:45 for Matteo Ugolotti, 17:46 for Jorge Martinez. Matt Wood back there on 17:01. Haven't seen Martinez out there today, so won't be scoring on this round, maybe at the final round, of course, at Interlagos. But this is a track which I'm pretty sure demands respect and is a real iRating and safety rating killer if you do get it wrong around this place. We focus on Matteo Ugolotti at this stage here, making that charge here in Detroit, Michigan, over towards turn 7, trying to use all of the road available here through, and he's doing a very, very good job of making sure that car is dancing through the walls here. That big left-hander coming along of 8, 9, 10 into 11 here, the right up against the wall, and you can't afford to brush that wall. One hit against the wall is a 0x incident point, and even a 0x incident will invalidate the lap. So Ugolotti pushing with everything he's got. Has he found the magic formula here as he drives to the line? He bet he has, right at the death, 107.801.
Yeah, not a bad lap there by Matteo. He's certainly the best that we have in racing in this class throughout the iRacing community, and yeah, tonight he's just shown us again how good he really is.
Yeah, he absolutely has. John Pat Kelly as well coming over the line. So we can get up for you on screen how everyone's stacked up in qualifying as we take ourselves through the starting grid at Belle Isle and see exactly where everyone is going to be starting out then for today's action then around this place. Seems like it's getting a little bit busy there in the sea, but ultimately we are all happy. Matteo Ugolotti then on pole position, a 107.801. We'll have Matt Wood alongside for company, just 0.11 behind there in second. There is Cedric Beale lining up third with Mitchell Welker there in fourth place. John Atkinson Jr. lining up fifth with Kent Nielsen then in sixth place on the grid. Seventh would belong to Brian Molitor then over the page with Kleber Toffoli in eighth position. Good qualifying there by Kleber with Christoph Montz and Christian Steele rounding out the top 10 on the grid. Adam Webb asking what setup do I use in 11th position with John Pat Kelly alongside in 12th. Following that is Christian Grichko and Jan Strutinsky making it an all-Canadian 7th row of the grid. Emilio Fernandez Garrido in 15th position joins Tom Minot with David Bourbeau and Anish Mehta there in 17th and 18th positions. Mark Van Dalen goes from 19th with Diogo Conceição there in what is 20th place. Valentin Milanovici will start from 21st with Liam Buckley 22nd, and then you got Matthias Kaiser, Scott Seegast, Joey Villamarete then with or Villamarette. Then you got Ryan Cullimore and Lance Larkin making the 27 drivers who will be taking to this race. A lot of drivers choosing different strategies. We've seen drivers on the soft, the medium, and the hard compound tyre here today. Matthias Kaiser's going to start on the hard and make that a reality for him at this stage. But it is Ugolotti who's got control. 27 drivers today will mean that everyone's in trouble when it comes to traffic. There'll be a lot of it over the course of this race. Lights on here at Detroit. The Motor Cities race starts now. Top three got away well. Look at Matt Wood going for the inside. Short run to turn one. Ugolotti can just about cover it off, but it's the run to three which is going to be key. That dirty air effect really kicking in early as they go on through. Everybody almost has got through. Okay, we've got cars upside down. Conceição was involved in it. Kaiser looking to try and get through, flipping up and over is Anish Mehta.
Yeah, there we go. So action aplenty. Not even a lap through, and it's always going to happen. That corner is very difficult. We've already seen it paint some perspective.
Yeah, so dramas then on the opening lap as 4 or 5 getting caught out in the early stages, but at the front, The battling very much continuing here as they hit the brakes into 10A, the 7-Eleven complex, I would say. Welker we are focusing on with at the moment, has Cedric Beale there just in front, but is not able to find a move just yet. Top two breaking away. Behind that, of course, you've got Nielsen and Atkinson. They're all there trying to keep themselves nicely put together, but this is going to be a tough race here today. One pit stop, of course, is required due to the tyre life of these machines, but what you'd also say is that there are going to be very difficult places to try and get moves done. This is going to be a tough track to get things moving.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This track is incredibly hard to pass on, and yeah, there's not many opportunities, and certainly none with runoff, so you've got to make it committed and get it done before the corner.
Yeah, so everyone's still trying to make sure they get those moves as we focus on board then with Welker making that charge through turn 6 here, going on to Strand Drive, this slow, snaking, I would say, straight. You take a small kick left, small kick right, and now you hit the next right-hand bend here, this next right at turn 7. Always a difficult corner to get correct because it narrows up on you from a very large Strand Drive, and ultimately no real troubles then as they make their way through. And that patience game is going to be important. We're going to see tyres are going to be an issue. We're going to be seeing a lot as actually someone has just found the barriers. Ryan Cullimore in the 26 in trouble hitting the wall.
Yeah, there we go. So Cullimore in the wall, exactly where we were just talking about, and yeah, the core again as well. So not too sure what's going on there. Looks like he had maybe a hardware failure. But yes, no, that corner certainly does close off very quickly, and I've found myself in the wall there plenty of times.
Well, here's Diogo Conceição, and both of them got it wrong at exactly the same point. So off the road goes one, and then a missed braking point with the distraction, and there goes another. That's how easily it can go wrong here around this place. Conceição's keeping it going. There's a lot of smoke around in that vehicle, but he's doing a good enough job to keep things honest at this stage. It's starting to just spread out ever so slightly here as we look at Christophe Montz a little bit further down in the back. John Pat Kelly accompanied behind, but look at Christophe Montz. There is no front wing on the car, which indicates that he has had a tangling together with the barriers at a certain point in time, and it really has shown.
Yeah, it certainly has. That will not be helping him at all. He, see if he does come in now and grab a wait before he will continue. No, it looks like he's going to come down the lane.
Yep, so into the pits, no surprises there. Was really losing a lot of time there was Christophe Montz as he clattered the wall at 2. That is the reason why the front wing is off of the car right now, this very second. But we are still there, and look at this from Matt Wood, who has been closing in slowly but surely over these last couple of laps, setting fast laps of the race, chase down Matteo Ugolotti. Long way to go, yes, but you would say for Matteo Ugolotti, he's normally a breakaway, runaway style driver. Not been the case so far. He is very much driving well within the limits, trying to get home and safe in this one.
Right, there's Barry. Normally he's about 3 seconds down the road by this stage, so good to see Matt Wood keeping him honest and hanging on the back there. Cedric Beale dropped a little bit off his guy, 2 seconds back, and then Michael Welker is Mitchell Welker, so
sitting there in 4th position, having good eyes over Cedric Beale at this moment in time, and looking like this is going to be a case of just patience at this stage, trying to get through. We go on board with Kent Nielsen here in 5th place. You see a little look to the inside there from Welker, trying to get that move done, but then you've got John Atkinson Jr. just behind, and this becomes again another case of difficult battling that we've got going on out here on track. We've had a number of drivers fall a lap down, plus Valentin Milanovici, Anish Nater, David Bourbeau, Ryan Cullimore, Adam Webb, and also Diogo Conceição, all multiple laps down plus in this race right now. But at least for these drivers, you can see Christophe Montz is about to join them. That's 112 seconds in the lane at this point in time, and that no matter which way you cut the dice, is going to be an incredibly long time in the lane. These four making their charge then towards turns 12 and 13, and they're so deceptive, those two corners. You have to be really hard on the brakes into what is seemingly an open corner, but tightens up so much as you go through.
Yeah, certainly right. Very impressed with Kent Nielsen's pace this far on in the race. He's sort of just inside the top 10, but he's hanging there in the fifth and putting plenty of pressure on P4. So let's hope that his pace continues throughout this race.
Yeah, and the pace that continues is going to be really, really important. So now you start to wonder here, if drivers are getting held up, at what point do you go aggressive on strategy? And this is going to bring tyre choices into play, because this is a track position first circuit. Being out in front of another driver in front, that is a very big lunge to the inside from Lance Larkin, getting himself out of the way of everybody else out there in the race, struggling around in that mild 7 2005 Renault. But at least for this moment in time, they are focusing about survival first and then track position. Track position gives you more chance of survival, and if you get there, Fonty, you'd see drivers pitting in earlier rather than later.
Certainly right. Yeah, because it is so hard to make moves here and get them to stick cleanly, it's, yeah, pit stop is going to be a massive area where you're going to make it up. If you've got a couple of cars in front that you are passing them, and you can't get past them in a straight line, then certainly do it in the pit stop.
Yeah, and that pit stop is going to be the big key. How they make sure that they get themselves positioned for it and within their windows of strategy, because once one driver pits, the other one will soon follow in. Worth noting, the gap has really opened out now between Matt Wood and Matteo Ugolotti. It was 0.4 of a second over the line, but Matt Wood really starting to struggle, it seems, on this lap, back out to 1.2 seconds, all of which just going away in the opening couple of corners because of just how aggressive that dirty air effect is.
Yeah, you can see him dropping away, so potentially has he just slightly touched the wall, maybe slightly bit in play from the front wing, because over 1.3, so he needs to continue to keep this solid form up that he has done so far. As soon as he gets out of that 1.5 second range,
Yeah, we've also had Joey Villamoretta then in troubles as well around this track also. So a lot of drivers towards the rear and the back in a little bit of difficulty today at Belle Isle. And no surprises, it's one split of 27. It's not these two splits that we traditionally tend to see. So that's just making life a bit more difficult for drivers that you wouldn't normally see racing here, finding themselves in a little bit of trouble.
Yep, that's exactly right. Such a tough circuit, but I expected probably half the field not to finish, to be honest with you. And yeah, could certainly create difficult passing for these leading cars if they catch onto the back of some lap cars, or a few lap down cars.
Yeah, and so you're seeing these lap down cars in a very, very precarious position. They're having to let through again and again and again, but that is one of the battles that you have to deal with when you go to street circuit racing. You have to be very alert to every single car that is out there and making sure you are making the right decision, as Jan Stratinsky has gone around coming out of 11. Oh, hello.
Made his way back to the pits, so we're going to have a look at the virtual racing score replay, see what's happened here. He's done it all by himself.
And Tom Minot as well, follow this just after. So there's the hit, and now watch Minot. He decides to go for the pits. He gets hit from someone behind. They're trying to take the toe, and just like that, Liam Buckley also out of the race. So Minot, Buckley and Stratinsky, basically the same track. I think cool heads have gone absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, exactly right. Such a tough pit entry, this track, and I think Liam was, not really expecting the other driver to go in, so reaction time couldn't quite avoid that one.
Yep, so that avoidance then wasn't quite good enough, and that ultimately ends in retirement as that's how easily it can go wrong around this circuit, and drivers will be keeping their eyes very much peeled into how they go. We're down to 15 runners now here on the leading lap, so we've separated the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, as they've gone through. Ugolotti at this moment in time, half a second the gap down to 4/10, and they are approaching traffic, so Consenshaw is going to have to try and make sure he gets out of the way here onto Strand Drive, moves over to the right hand side, lets the leading two fly on by. Matt Wood has done well to get himself back into range here, but Ugolotti knows that he is taking control of this race through track position at this point in time. He is managing a race more rather than driving it.
Yeah, exactly right. Great to see, though, that someone is taking it to Ugolotti. We've seen event after event that he just drives away with it. And Matt Wood, saw him claim last weekend's race, and he certainly has some serious pace tonight. So I reckon it'll go right down to the wire between these two guys, and yeah, potentially the pit stops where it's going to be made.
Yeah, and that might just be key, because look at the track temperature here today. It's 42 degrees track temp at Belle Isle. It's a sweltering day, and this is going to be tough. As you can see, all of those drivers swarming behind the third position as we keep an eye on those. There's a bit of argy-bargy. You got Nielsen, you got Atkinson
Whoa,
Jr.
Ugolotti's in the wall.
And Wood as well. And Wood as well. Both of them together. Ugolotti's mistake then, as he goes through, he grabs the wall, he grabs Matt Wood as well, and suddenly Matt Wood has the lead, and Cedric Beale is all over him like a rash.
Yeah, there we go. That was just the rear starting to come around on him. I wonder if that front wing is certainly damaged. Is he going to be able to continue to drive like that?
Well, if he's going to dive in for a stop, he'd go on to the mediums. Let's catch us on the virtual racing score replay. Ugolotti is out of the race here, the championship leader. We just missed it, but it's all on Ugolotti here. This is the pains that you have. You can see he's trying to use as much track as possible. He grabs the grass, goes around, hits the wall, and Matt Wood's got absolutely nowhere to go through that section of road, gets the front wing damaged, and suddenly he's got Cedric Beale all over him now as he starts the 12th lap of this race. He has stayed out. He is going to try and mitigate the damage. He is going to drop 5 seconds. He's in the fence again, going through turn 2. He's really struggling with it. I'm pretty sure now he'll have damage to the suspension, as Cedric Beale will try and go around the outside to take this lead. Please take caution as they go through. Beale takes the lead. Welcome to Freight Train City.
There we go. So from hero to zero was Ugolotti, and Wood really had it, but yeah, that off camber long left-hander where the wall just comes out and bites you, certainly come out and bit Wood, and I think he's going to have to trundle back to
John, be
now.
careful.
So this is going to throw it up there. We could see Beale take out his first one
of the season. Absolutely, we could. You could say it could be a first win of the season for Mitchell Welker, for Kent Nielsen, for John Atkinson Jr. They could all take a huge advantage out of this, and that is what makes Belle Isle such a difficult race. There's a lot of people who say we want street circuits on iRacing, then turn around and say we can't drive them. Well, this is just the nature of what street circuits are. This is as street circuit as it gets. Matt Wood has to bite the bullet. He has to come in and make a stop.
Yeah, you see where he's actually going to be able to come out of this. Will he be able to pull back some pace? And it's going to be a long old while pit stop, I think.
Depends on the damage to the suspension. If the suspension's gone, then he's going to be there for forever and 3 years. Mark my words about it. Right now, it's the front drivers who have every reason to be excited with the way that they're going right now. Beale leads this one. Welker is in second. It's Nielsen third and John Atkinson Jr. now in fourth. And they become the drivers who we focus on in this race. You've got a battle as well on 5th and 6th position. Haven't really talked about this because you've got Christian Grichko up against Kleber Toffoli as well. There is Matt Wood, 9 seconds in the box, so no damage to the suspension, as that looks like a big lock up there from the driver in front of him. That is Christian Steele, who's going to let him have that position. That was 4th place, and now Matt Wood has gone on to, I believe, out there on circuit. Another set of the soft compound. He will have to come in again.
Yeah, interesting choice there, but clearly what he wants to do. So yeah, lucky not to have any substantial damage to that car, and stop time is only around 9 seconds. So yeah, 9.5 second stop for what Matt Wood. So he could still come back and do it.
Thanks, man.
He could. In comes Grichko then to make his stop. He'll go up onto the jacks, then get a set of medium compound tyres on the car, and he will be out and away again. There is the leaders' battle. Cedric Beale, Mitchell Welker out there at this stage, and they are all searching for everything as he looks to try and get that Project 2 racing car really working on the brakes into the next right-hand bend, and he is trying to make sure that every which way he looks, he has got that chance to go and make those overtakes. 14 runners on the leading lap right now. It really does tell at this point. Into the pits comes Christian Steele looking to make his stop, but right now, you've got to say, these top two have got to focus and they've got to work together to pull away in this one. They'll be focusing on maybe lap 20 as an ideal to make a stop.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and I'll certainly most likely go on to the medium compound tyre. I was quite surprised that Wood chose to go for the soft compound tyre on that, and try to push it out for the rest of the race on the medium. But obviously he's got a game plan, as we just see a replay.
That's Emilio Fernandez in the wall. Matt Wood down the inside. Emilio trying to fight him all the way. Realised he outbroke himself a bit too late. And when you do outbreak yourself here at a street circuit, Fonzie, you effectively can't. There is no margin for error here.
No, you're exactly right. There is nothing but the checkbook needs to come out and pay for a damaged car. But yeah, such an awesome circuit, and if you can tame this beast, then you're certainly one of the best.
I'll tell you what will be interesting though, strategy-wise, is how Matthias Kaiser is going to be doing in this race. As we look behind then from the exhaust of your race leader, Cedric Beale, making his way through turn 13, over towards the start then of another lap on Sunset Avenue, as he makes that look towards 1 and 2. I'm very focused on how Matthias Kaiser is going to do, because he started the race today, Fonty, on the hard compound tyre.
Yeah, interesting choice there. Will he try and do the whole race on that tyre? Oh, he's got another car around just in front of Kent Nielsen, actually.
Yep, so into the pits comes Claver Toffoli. That would have been Emilio Fernandez, who we were keeping an eye out on, of course, had that moment earlier on, and ultimately grabbed the curb, and around he went, and Kent Nielsen said thank you as he went by. Now look at this then, as they go in battle for the lead once more. Beale still going at it then with Mitchell Welker. Welker's got to make the first punch in this battle, try and undercut, because we know that an undercut works really, really well in this series. If he gets himself ahead, he will have complete control of the field, because we've seen it's been nigh on impossible to get one overtake sorted in this race so far.
Yeah, certainly right. Looking at the lap times, last lap by Kent Nielsen fastest out of the East Street. So there we go. Welker's in the lane. He wants to get the jump. You can almost guarantee Beale's got to come in next lap if he wants to have any sort of chance of staying in the lead.
It's such a difficult pit exit as well, because it encroaches right out on turn 2, so you've got to keep that in mind, as Cedric Beale's got to set one of his best laps. Toffoli's back out there and is just behind Grichko, so has lost out in the stop. There goes Cedric Beale onto a set of the medium compound tyres, as he gets himself then just behind John Pat Kelly. Now that will not be good. Atkinson has also exited the pits then after making his stop, but the key here for Welker is that he is stuck in traffic, and Cedric Beale will be absolutely loving that, because I'm sure he'll see it on his black box relative if he looks.
Yeah, just to be correct to there, mate. Yeah, Welker on the medium compound tyre. Cedric Beale yet to make a stop. So yes, Beale will certainly be loving it. Last lap time by for him in 11.2. So yeah, he needs to probably.
And he goes
now. He goes
64 kilometres an hour as you hit the pit lane here at this circuit. It does release Kent Nielsen out into the race lead, and now you start to figure out whether this is going to be ideal or not. Welker has got through John Pat Kelly. John Pat Kelly let him go through, but Beale now leaving his box. This is going to be pretty tight. It's slow on the exit. Thank you very much. That's a jump. Mitchell Welker takes the race lead at Belle Isle.
There we go. You did say it's Barry, and yeah, he's done a great job there. Pit stop times are pretty much identical, 0.1 of a second between the two. So yeah, very, very interesting, that's for sure. Beale needs to certainly try hard now and make use of those fresh tyres to get past them.
John Pat Kelly out of the pits and away again. Will turn up just ahead of Matthias Kaiser as we watch Kent Nielsen here, your race leader, outright at the moment, due to come down in, due to make a pit stop here. Has been on the soft compound tyre for 18 laps here in this race, and I think he's going to try and extend this out as far as he can. We've seen him be very, very good as a tyre saver in this championship. Not as to the extent you could say of Jorge Martinez, but he is definitely trying to target lap 26 potentially as a place to come down in and go soft to the end. There you can see behind one in the medium compound tyres there of Christian Grichko, Kleber Toffoli, trying to make this one a soft medium, it seems, to get from now to the end of this race.
Interesting call from him, but yeah, I think he's definitely going to go medium and try and push them out and do another stop, because leaving to try and stretch out those soft compound tyres is going to be a real ask. It'll be interesting to see how Matt Woods goes and when he comes through to do that second stop.
Well, that's going to be very difficult. You can see he's stuck behind, and maybe he'd like a little bit of DRS somewhere around this circuit. The bad news for him as we look at Matt Wood, who is now currently in 5th position after all of the stops have almost sorted themselves out. Bad news is there is no DRS marker zones here at this circuit.
There we go. It's too short, probably too dangerous for them to run DRS. And the speeds aren't that high. So Matt Wood, the only one lapping in the 109s at this stage. So it's slowly catching on to the back of these guys. Yeah, he really hasn't lost out too much, but he is going to have to make another stop. So that could definitely put him down.
Yeah, you can see over that last lap he was 1.2 seconds quicker than Cedric Beale. He's not out of this race, but if he is going to make his way through and gain himself into those positions where he knows that he is strong and can make things happen, then he has got to have an absolutely fantastic race. He now has to do one of the most difficult things in this track, in this race, and that is go out there, make an overtake, and make something happen here at the Motor City. On the brakes into 7, you can see again, he's just not got that run. Very easy. It's, again, like what is said at Monaco, you need about 2 seconds a lap speed to go out there and make a clean overtake.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, really, where is he going to set himself up to get past? Yeah, you've got to go down the straight off turn 2. Really, if he gets a good run off through this section that's coming up, goes through 1 and then through 2. If he gets a good run through there, he's going to be close enough this time by though.
Oh, I wouldn't count on it here. Got a really good launch up and over the river. And now to the outside, he'll lunge for it. And now, how much can you fight this? If you're Cedric Beale, he's going to go around the outside at the next corner. They're going to squeeze, and he's going to get it. Matt Wood with pass of the season as he gets it done twice around the outside at Belle Isle.
Fantastic move there, Matt Wood, and yeah, superb stuff. That was really cool to watch.
Well, let's have another little look at this then. You can see Cedric Beale's done everything correctly, positions himself on the outside, but Matt Wood has so much more grip on those softs, and he is looking to try and get himself through again on the outside, and he's just full commitment on that outside. And you'd wonder there at that point whether Cedric Beale could have forced the issue a little bit more, but there's nothing you can do when Matt Wood drives like that. His focus will be on Welker, and there is your race leader Kent Nielsen here, who's not having much fun with Christian Steele, who dives himself down the inside. It's clear that Kent Nielsen's tyres here have hit a cliff. He is really trying to make that one stop come to life.
Yeah, well, 1:12.2 for Kent Nielsen, and then Matt Wood and Mitchell Wicker, who just taken over second place.
Yep, that's Brian Molitor. He has gone through, who is also yet to make a stop on the soft as he tries to get on by. Now, Matt Wood will be definitely eyes focused on getting to Molitor as soon as he can. The battle's still on behind, of course, between Grichko and Toffoli, and Molitor's in the fence. Molitor is in the fence. Matt Wood just about skirts around him. Brian Molitor hits the wall at 7.
There we go. So, yeah, those soft compound tyres are certainly very worn out. Now he's going to take front left replacement as we see him drive into the lane.
You can see in this sort of incident, Molitor was trying to follow those lines as he dives into the pits right now. He hits the brakes and he just locks the inside front, and he's trying to keep it going through the corner by holding the brake through. But when you lock the front up like that, it's not holding the brakes that gets the car slow. It's actually cadence braking. You need to unlock the front tyre if you're going to get any more grip out of it.
Yeah, he needed the rear construction. That's such a hard corner. Yeah, there's really no giving on that corner when you do lock up. I've been in there myself, and yeah, very frustrating. But he was driving a great race up until that point. He still come out in P9.
Yeah, in P9, and doing a great job actually in P9 is this one. There is Kent Nielsen, your race leader, being closed down at a rate of knots. There is your second place driver right now in the form of Mitchell Welker, who will go on to take the race lead. It's into the pits then. On lap 23 goes Kent Nielsen. He cannot extend that out any further, but he is now going to get a really strong advantage now on his tyres with that 6 or 7 lap overcut he has in comparison to the rest of the field. So when everyone's tyres are starting to really hurt, they're going to be back in position. There is Kent Nielsen, and every reason to be excited. Nielsen here, in terms of where he's coming out, he'll be just behind John Atkinson Jr. out on circuit. So that is the next challenge for Kent as he gets himself moving forward. He's gone on to another set of the soft compound tyre. Mark that down.
Yeah, there we go. So interesting strategy for him. I would have thought that he just passed John Atkinson and he's got 8.8 seconds to Mountain Field. He was right in that fight with the beforehand. So potentially going a little bit too long.
Oh, Toffoli's just brushed the wall, and we'll catch this on the virtual racing score replay. I think his race is over, and it's not much either, which has hurt him and caused damage. Claver Toffoli is out of the race on this small moment. You can see he's just behind. He's trying to push himself through turn number 4, stay on the back. And as he goes through, watch this. It's not much, it's just that. And that breaks that front axle suspension. And you can see from that point onwards, he's trying to work out how much grip do I've got. Oh, I don't have enough, I don't have anything. I've got no steering that I like. I'm going to pull it off. He hits the wall again, and that is that. In the fence, out.
Yeah, there you go. You see the front body snap. Himself after that one, but this is the battle done pretty quickly. Stage Wicker is still back pretty quickly. 1:25, so not bad.
He's definitely matching the times then being set by Matt Wood. Oh, Atkinson's off. Atkinson goes straight on then over at turn 7, abandons ship, and just in front, that's Grichko moving through and taking the place away from him. So just like that, John Atkinson Jr. knew he wasn't going to make the corner through and ultimately decides, I'm bailing onto the escape road.
Yeah, probably a good call. Car, so home.
tell you what, he's done very well to find that reverse gear quickly and get himself moving out there at this stage. A lot of drivers would have been finding the wall with that one, convinced that they could still make the corner. So John Atkinson Jr. keeps his race alive at this stage. There is the driver in third position, Cedric Beale. Then the Frenchman started in third, is third, 6 seconds adrift of your race leader, Mitchell Welker. Matt Wood in control in second, you would say, at 3.4 seconds adrift. But crucial thing is Matt Wood probably has one more stop to make in this one, and it will be the most aggressive stop of his race because he will have to make passes on track. As things stand, he's probably looking at putting himself behind John Atkinson Jr. at the moment, but he should be ahead of those two drivers and come out in about fourth position is probably his best goal that he is hoping for.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Certainly the one you want to see the right having Whitson, the top three is possible for Wood. I mentioned the race accident and shot from the side of the
And that's the thing, lasting the distance. We are only now at the halfway stage. There are 12 drivers on the leading lap and only 5 who are still out there and circulating. Your retirees, Valentin Milanovici, Anish Mehta, David Bourbeau, Ryan Cullimore, Christophe Mons, Joey Villamoretta, Tom Minot, there, Jan Stratinsky, Matteo Ugolotti, and of course Emilio Fernandez Garrido, all out at this stage. Matthias Kaiser yet to come down in and make that stop. That's not a surprise out there in the race. You can see the white-walled hard compound tyres. We don't often see them, but that is something that is going to take Matthias Kaiser from now to the end of this race. That is his plan, to go as far as he can on this stint, maybe all the way. There is no rule regulation here in the iRacing Grand Prix Series that says you have to change tyres.
Yeah, he's still not lacking the bad pace, really. Like 1:12.6. To do that. Yeah, sort of.
Oh, hello. Just there, that's Conceição. Conceição then just going straight on. He's 4 laps down at the moment. It's been a torrid day for him.
It certainly has. And it's really, you love it or hate it. And done so well, and some little error, not very quickly. But yeah, looking at Cedric Beale, he's having another great performance. Last week we saw him get onto the podium, and
thank you.
looking like he can do the same this week, providing he keeps it out of the wall.
Well, you can see he's catching Matt Wood now, and Wood, 16 laps on these sets of tyres, will now be starting to feel the wear and the effects here in this one, and he's probably going to try and stretch this one out to about 20 laps to go. No, he's not. He's going to dive in now. So that is a big call to dive down into the pits. Matt Wood is going to bite the bullet now, and I think he's going for a set of mediums, you would argue, from now to the end of this race. I'm sure that would be the plan that he goes through. Of course, it's easier on the tyres, the less fuel that's in these cars. You cannot refuel in these stops, but that is going to be an important battle that we will see, where Matt Wood is going to come out in comparison to the drivers that he is around. He's come out behind the crew of Atkinson and Grichko.
There you go. So that's exactly where you said he was going to come out, and yeah, he can easily catch these 2 cars in front of him. He's got 5-second gap between them, but yeah, the pace that he had earlier on in the race.
It's another set of softs, which tells you all you need to know. He's trying to rely on them, being reliable over to the end of this race as he tries to figure out how many points he can get. We're on board with John Atkinson Jr. then, the German driver in the Phoenix Racing outfit, and he's really trying to put the pressure on there. Christian Grichko was very close to the wall through turn number 8, and now to 11. It's all about that run, and this is a straight which is just not long enough, you would say. You can see all those markings on the left as parking as they go on through, and now make that charge here all the way down towards that first corner once again, and that very, very difficult right-left chicane. Very quick, you're at 200 Ks going through this section, and 210 through the second part. You can see there all of the road being used up.
Yes, that is probably the most difficult section on the track, I reckon. Yeah, just to get that judge of speed right through turn 2. I feel like you've got it absolutely nailed, and then all of a sudden the wall just climbs out a few inches and you're in it.
Yeah, it's almost quite funny, these walls. They almost jump out and scare you as you go through. Big shame for John Pat Kelly out there on track. He's had himself an internet throughput, and he was right up there running in that top 10. And just like that, it's gone.
Yeah, disappointing, but that's what we put up with here in sim racing. Unfortunately,
they certainly do. As again, we keep that focus. Atkinson versus Grichko. There isn't really a great place to get the move done. It's 3 or bust here around this circuit as they try and figure out where they need to be in order to make the moves that are available to them. As John Pat Kelly gets himself out of the pits again. Technically, it's a 1.7 stop in the box, but he has been there for a very long time. He's 2 laps down now and in 13th position overall. But again, on the brakes into turn number 3, and it's this transfer section which gets so difficult here through 4, 5 and 6, where you need to be millimetre precise.
Yes, certainly do. And this is closing up the gap to Matt Wood. He's nearly at the 2-second mark. When they first started, it was 5 seconds. So within a couple of laps, he's closed that gap right up, and he's also doing the fastest laps in this race at a 1:10.1. So yeah, certainly gaining on those front guys, that's for sure.
Tell you who else is gaining, and that is Cedric Beale out in front in 2nd position. The gap is now down to 4 seconds here to Mitchell Welker as we focus again still on these 3 drivers in 4th, 5th and 6th, but the lead gap now 4 seconds as Beale did a 10.3 compared to a 10.8 by Welker. Good drive then coming out to the final couple corners then from John Atkinson Jr. But again, dirty air through 1 and 2 is going to tamper a lot of runs unless you find a mistake. Just like that. This is the chance that John Atkinson Jr. has been looking for. Hard defence to the inside then by Grichko. Moves to the middle of the road to defend the line. And that is some very good defensive driving there because he used his one element of movement back to the racing line to still cover the move.
Yeah, excellent defensive driving there, and this has brought Wood right back into the mix. He's on the back of these guys now, and he needs to be patient and make the move stick and do it well, otherwise could find himself in the wall.
Could very much do so, and we have seen it once already. He's been caught up in someone else's incident, and that was not ideal then in the slightest, trying to get through. Welker on the radio, really not happy with the way he had to get around Diogo Conceição, who was in the middle of the road going through. He's saying, come on, you forced me into a 1 line, and that was dangerous, and that's why the gap is 2.6 seconds. Oh, Mark.
He just went straight off. It was like he had a bit of a hard look. I was riding on board with him at that time. And it just went straight ahead.
He just didn't make the corner. He outbroke himself. He was too concerned with the traffic there on the right-hand side. Misses braking point as he goes through, and bang! You've got so much tyre there that you've got nowhere to go from that sort of hit. He keeps it out in this race. He is now behind Mark Van Dalen and co, but he's still on the leading lap. But that is a big, big mistake. It now brings Matt Wood right onto the back of Christian Grichko. Exactly what he wants right now is to dispatch this battle, A, S, A, and P out there in this race. And here's the defensive drive again from Grichko. Will it be a look around the outside? The answer is yes. Inside line at 8. Oh, they're tire to tire. That is a wonderful move again by Matt Wood. Mistake by Grichko on the exit.
Wow, that was fantastically done. Yeah, there's not much room for 2 cars to go through there, and they nearly rubbed. But yeah, well executed by Wood, and now he's off into the distance.
He is, but look at the gap he's now got to close down to Kent Nielsen. That gap is 15 seconds here in this one. Of course, Nielsen's trying to go to the end on that set of soft compound tyres. They're going to be screaming for mercy late on in this race. Matt Wood has the freshest tyres of anybody in this field, but they will also be struggling late, so he's got to use that tyre life wisely as they go through. Beale versus Welker, though, is the key. Of course, we've seen that traffic really bring Welker's gap down to 2.8. It remains at 2.8, but Beale's so good
through that middle sector, brings the gap down by another couple tenths as he makes these charges through the 7-Eleven complex past the legendary Scott Fountain.
Yep, it certainly does. And yeah, Kent Nielsen, fastest on track at this stage, fastest good on that last lap. So if he can keep his pace up, then he might be also on that come the last few laps, because we all know how good at saving tyres Kent Nielsen is. He's two in front of him, and going to be driving for rubber coming in. He can find himself right in the mix to win the race.
He certainly could do, but it's going to be a long road from there, and he's going to be hoping for mistakes from drivers at a track where little to no mistakes have to be made at this point. There are 8 drivers currently on the leading lap of this race. Matthias Kaiser is the last of them at this stage, and Matt Wood with a 109.503 sets the fastest lap of the race. Worth noting that the time conditions here today, it is 4:23 in sim time. This track is going to get colder and quicker as this race goes on.
Yeah, it certainly helps look after the life of the tyre as well. So, yeah, it's hard to say who's going to win this race, Barry. Could be between any of these first 4 cars.
And you know what? If they all run into troubles, it's pretty much anybody's race. That's one of the things with street circuit racing. John Atkinson Jr. out and away again. Of course, we did see 10.2 second stop in 8th place overall. 1 minute and 3 down at this point in time. Few drivers still circulating a lap down. Scott Siegrist is one to definitely keep an eye out on. He has moved wonderful places along with Matthias Kaiser. Started 24th. He is up into 9th place here in this race.
Yeah. Stay out of trouble, that's the name of the game around this circuit. That's what he's done so far, so well done to him.
Well done indeed. And I tell you what, for these drivers who do make their way around this place successfully, there is a whole bunch of iRacing and safety rating on the line.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's what we're all here for, the iRating and safety rating. Street field racing is all about. Gaining the iRating and increasing that number, or decreasing that number that you come to the middle.
And this is another thing that these drivers will be keeping in the back of their minds, is just how long this race will feel, because this is such a concentrated race. You're having to be pinpoint accurate through every corner. You talk about this being 53 laps. Street circuits are traditionally high lap, high intensity laps as well. So doing a race of 53 laps around here will feel like doing a 2-hour stint, for example, in an endurance race, as John Atkinson Jr. finds the back of the hard compound tired Matthias Kaiser, searching for a way through at any given opportunity.
He is trying to find a way through, and yeah, you're exactly right, Sperry. It's tough to drive around this track, especially for 52 laps. I've never had the chance to do it on one of these cars. But the cars that I have, it's certainly a bit of a workout. You lose a few kilos in sweat driving around here.
Especially on a sim, which is the even more impressive point of it. Through 8, 9 and now into 10, which transfers beautifully into turn 11. Attack off of the exit here, and Matthias Kaiser is just trying to get on the radio there. Do you want to go through? Maybe he's one of the things he's thinking about. He's playing the long race, and he is going to actually take to the pit. So he says pitting in on the hard compound. He's taken that 36 laps today in this one, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a soft compound tyre finish off his race.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You will see a soft compound tyre go on here. 16 laps to go, so he'll be able to punch out some good lap times. Where's he going to come out of the pits?
Well, that's going to be... Yep, that definitely looks like it could be the case, because the battle for 9th and 10th, mind you, and 10th, 1 lap down. Mark van Dalen there in the background, also trying to do well. We're on board with Cedric Beale right now, making his progress through up the hill in towards that right of 6. That is such a tough corner, turn 6. Uphill, you're fighting against the car. It falls away from you, the track, as you go through that section of road. And effectively, if you haven't got it right, you've got it horribly, horribly wrong. And it's just such a devilish corner.
Yeah, I don't know what corner is the devilish around this place, but yeah, certainly that section of track is pretty tough. And yeah, honestly, this way you can tell what you can see why we've got so many retirees from this race is it is such a hard circuit to master and to punch out 54 laps around here in one of these cars is a big ask.
It is a big ask, and you can see those times fluctuating in and around 2.7 to 3 seconds at the front. It's consistent pressure of being 3 seconds the gap. They can see that battle behind for 9th and 10th. There is Segrist fighting with Van Dalen, and they'll be looking behind as well because that is Liam Buckley, the car just behind, who will also be looking to try and get through. Darlin, you can see, very close to making that run over towards turn number 1 out on circuit. They do have track in front, and it is a driver who is a lap ahead of them in this one, and that is Christian Grichko out there, who did an 11.4 over that last lap, so he's falling actually backwards into the clutches of the lap traffic battle behind, which is going to be a very awkward moment of contention, as into the pits then comes the yellow and black machine of Brian Molitor, second stop that he's made.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times of Ken Nielsen, 110 flat versus Cedric Beale of a 110.6. So he is gaining on these front two cars at a great rate of knots.
Certainly is. 10.3 from Mitch Welker. Cedric Beale 10.7. The gap now 3.1. Kent Nielsen 10.3 of his own, matching Welker out in front. The gap 6.6 to the lead. So Kent Nielsen is going to be very much on this one, hopefully soon. Fastest car on track, though, is Matt Wood. Just did a 10.1 on that last lap. And that means that his gap is about 12 seconds to Kent Nielsen, but he is running out of time. There's 14 laps to go here at Belle Isle, and if you want to catch the second lap against the driver who's catching the leaders, that will be a Herculean effort.
Yeah, I don't know if he could do close that 11 seconds. He's a very good driver, but it's a bit of an ask. We're going to have to see him punch out second lap faster times than anybody else, and I don't know if that's going to be quite possible, but looking at Kent Nielsen, he's under 3 seconds now, 2.9 seconds to Cedric Beale. Cedric Beale needs to find another gear and to catch up onto the back of Welker.
He certainly does, and it is worth noting as well, Christian Grichko has come in, made another stop. He is out and away again, still in 5th position. 6 drivers now on the leading lap here at Belle Isle, and it's still anyone's to call at this moment in time. Welker going really aggressive through turn 3, gets a lot of curve on the exit as he goes on through, and now you just start to look and focus and think about how that Project 2 car is thinking and feeling, and every single corner now becomes just a little bit more nervy, because you know you are that one step closer to thinking about victory in a very, very tough and established field. It's not every day that you take the lead over Matt Wood and Matteo Ugolotti.
No, that's exactly right, and to come away with a win here against the calibre of those guys, it would be pretty remarkable. You're going to be pretty chuffed with yourself to do that, but we've got 13 laps to go, and anything can happen. This is sim racing.
This is sim racing, and this is a very, very big sim race. On top of that, here at Belle Isle, Welker in control of this at the front of the field, sets a 10.6 over that last lap. Beale then a 10.5, takes a 10th off. Ken Nielsen also a 10.6 as he tries to keep himself very much in check at this stage. There has been a change for position. Mark Van Dalen is now behind Liam Buckley. That's happened over a lap ago now at this moment in time. So a good move done, and that was done on the outside into 7.
Oh, well done to him. And well done to all these guys who are still circulating.
Change as well.
Fantastic job. So we've got Paddle with Liam Buckley.
You let him have it there.
Yep, we did.
They are still side by side, and they sort it out amongst each other. Now watch this. Buckley definitely has a turn of pace in comparison to these other drivers, and you can see it's a pull over to the inside, and I'm just going to let you go through on the outside. There is not much I want to do fighting with Liam Buckley, and lets him go without any arguments at all. Next though for Scott Segrist is holding back Mark Van Dalen. That will be the next key in this one. That gap now second to third 2.5 seconds all of a sudden. Nielsen's 10.2 over that last lap was a wonderful, wonderful attempt going on by. And there is also issues for the leader because Brian Molitor, that last lap by, on fresh soft tyres, mind you, was a second a lap quicker.
There we go. So these guys starting to struggle at this end of the race. And Kent Nielsen doing what he does best, look after that rubber, smashed out of 10.2. So he's at 2.4 seconds, separating himself from Cedric Bell. Cedric really has to get his head down here and push on for another 11 laps.
Certainly does, and now Cedric Beer will feel this is his time. There is Matt Wood, 4th position, was in the prime place to challenge Ugolotti, forced the mistake out of Ugolotti. The one mistake you could say Matt Wood made was the fact that he gets very close to the wall there, coming out 7. Give him a bit of credit there. He's pushing for absolutely everything, and by gumbo he is. You'd say the only mistake he had was that he couldn't get to the inside quick enough.
Yeah, couldn't really. It was a kind of single line, bit of track with him and Ugolotti. Oh, just had car going into the wall. There's Scott Segrist.
So Segrist in trouble. That is at 7. And of course he was racing hard against Van Dalen as they went through. You'll see it on screen as they make that charge up. That is just Segrist finding the pressure, out-braking himself here into turn 7, and the tyres will do the rest. There you can see there's Van Dalen, who takes his natural line and just getting out there, almost in the marbles it seemed there, on that inside line. Very easy to get it wrong, and when you have a rubbered in line and a non-rubbered in line, it's surprisingly slick out there on the wrong line.
Yeah, especially when it's so hot, the temperatures that we're seeing today on track. Kent Nielsen, though, he's closing that gap at a great rate of knots. He's under 2 seconds there to Cedric Bell. Cedric Bell really starting to struggle on those tyres now.
Of course, Beale's tyres are a lot older in comparison to Kent Nielsen's, who, remember, pitted on lap 23, looking to bring a soft strategy home to the end. And now you start to wonder here, a 10.5 that time from Beale. There'll be traffic on the exit of the corner. That is Segrist rejoining, getting himself back into it. So that will bring Beale back in again towards that scrap which we got going on out on circuit. This is a really important moment in the race. How has Segrist brought that gap down?
Yeah, the gap is 1.6, separating these two now, so certainly didn't help Beale's campaign to finish 2nd, but Welk has opened it right up to 4.8 seconds now, so he's pretty hung and home at this stage.
Yeah, so 1 second, the big difference maker now through this very tough section of road. Will Kent Nielsen get some preferential treatment as he tries to get the lapping done as he goes through these next left-handers? He's not going to get it safely done here at this stage. He'll have to wait all the way to here, where it'll be a lift-off then from Segrist. Nielsen will give him a thank to the other member then in the Americas with him, and now the charge will be there again. John Pat Kelly is now out of this race. He is retired with those internet issues persisting here in this one. The gap now is so much now for Mitchell Welker, 4.6 seconds. But the big key as well is that we've only got 12 runners out there on track at this stage.
Yeah, there's not many left. I did expect this to be the case. Survival of the fittest out there. And if you can look after your rubber, keep it off the wall, you can generally find yourself right up here. Even if you were to start dead last in this, I still think you finish alright.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some drivers here, 23rd, 22nd, 24th on the grid. They are all there in and around that top 10. Adam Webb, for example. Remember Adam Webb? He had himself an issue off to the start, had a throughput, missed almost the opening lap of the race. He's 3 laps down right now, and he is absolutely excited. John Pat Kelly is back, looking to get himself back in again and finish the race 6 laps down. At this point in time, he is desperate to make sure he reaches that end. But there is Kent Nielsen once again that we focus on. But this is the issue he's got. They're running out of laps. Old Father Time has come along and said, you are running out of opportunities, my friend, to get it done. And those soft compound tyres are just starting to hit that range where they have equalised compared to the warm mediums.
Yeah, completely right. And yeah, this track is so hard on tyre life. And, yeah, these last 7 laps are going to be a real struggle for these front cars. Maybe he is starting to struggle on these tyres. We know that he does look after the rubber.
Thank you, Lance.
But yeah, look at that time's last lap by. A little bit slower than the midfield and
Yep, so we're seeing those times very, very different. Of course, we also got Lance Larkin still out there as well on track. But at least at this stage, you would say as well, this isn't a surface designed for street racing. This is a surface designed for roads and for general drivers to get through. It does get resurfaced. It does get repaved with the racing in mind every year at the Detroit Grand Prix. But you would say, as Kent Nielsen's found the wall, going through that section of road, very much just brushing against it. That was Troubles in the background. Troubles in the background. Larkin and Siegrist then coming together, and Siegrist, I'm not sure where exactly he was supposed to be going there as he was moving on forward. He gives a big hit to Lance Larkin, and I'd say that's unwarranted.
He got cut off. Yeah, he got cut off a few corners before when Larkin let the car go. Yeah.
That's not ball.
There we go.
There's no need for that.
Yeah, no need for that. Especially these cars. They're not coming
Mr. Nim Cross, you have yourself a little something to have a look at this stage as this goes on. And Mitchell Welker says, I'll let you know, Brian, if I want to let you through. We go and have a look then on board the number 2 machine of Matt Wood, who is trying everything to close down the gap. Now look at that gap. It's now under 7 seconds here to Kent Nielsen, because all of that hit has made a huge amount of difference. Matt Wood's got a lot of work to do here at this stage if he wants to close that down, but Kent Nielsen has effectively ceded second then to Cedric Beale. He's now in a race to fight for third, and crucially at the front, Melito being let through by the race leader to gain his lap back.
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, Nielsen could find himself in a whole heap of trouble here. He's losing time to Cedric Beale. Great rate of not 4 seconds separating those two now. It was up to 1.5 at one point. So yeah, Matt Wood could be in the hunt to get on the podium here.
Could be, but he needs a very good final 5 laps if he's to make that happen, and hope that Kent Nielsen hits a proverbial cliff and cannot make anything happen. You can see the last 3 laps, 1/10, 6/10, 6/10. That's not enough to get that.
Yeah, not quite enough to get there, but yeah, if Nielsen's car is damaged, then
oh, Wood's in the wall. He just grazes the wall out of 7th, and another hit there, which says I am pushing a bit too hard for it.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're just going to go back and have a look at that.
Oh, he's in the fence again at 12, sorry. So there's the first hit, and stay on it all the way to 12, because Wood's now going to be in the pit, and that surely is him throwing away 4th place.
Right. Oh, that was a good hit too. Yeah, he'll be driving. Yeah, look at that. He's driving right hand down.
Thanks.
So in the pits. Good night nurse for him. He'll be disappointed because he drove a fantastic race all the way back.
He did. He really fought hard. He dug down deep after that first hit, and out of the race now is Scott Siegrist as well. So Siegrist has found himself in a few troubles of his own, his race all over and done with then, as he has had himself a drive into the pits, has thrown it in the wall himself. So karma is turned about fair play. Lead gap is suddenly 2.7, and this will be for the slow car of Melito, who I think has had a moment out there on circuit in front of the leaders, has thrown it in the wall himself. So for Welker, had to maybe deal with that over the course of the lap, and that's why he has now seen that gap evaporate.
Yeah, certainly right. He's been a bit of an up and down race for him. But yeah, Cedric Beale certainly closing right on the back now. He is hunting him down at a great rate of knots, 2.6 seconds. So I don't know if he's going to have enough time to do it though.
Adam Webb's rolled it at turn 8, and that is his race over and done with. He was driving so well, and his race is completely done as he goes through and tries to make things happen. There is Beale, who has eyes firmly focused on Mitchell Welker, who will see that gap there low, and will be looking behind in the mirrors going, please don't be there, please don't be there. Virtual Racing's replay on screen into the pits then again comes, I believe, Kaiser, and there's the flip, and it's a rare place to see it flip at turn 8, but look at how much power is generated from the tyres. Bang, up and over, and there'll be a car coming onto the scene there who just gets away with it in time.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, big roll over there. 2 laps to go now. Cedric Beale, 2.3 seconds behind Mitchell Welker. Ken Nielsen, well, he's out the back door, but I think he's going to be able to be safe in third position there. Matt Wood, he'll be gutted, absolutely gutted with the mistake that he made there. Before we saw when he clobbered the wall. 2 laps to go now, and it's nearly under 2 seconds.
Nearly under 2 seconds, but of course, old father time coming into play here. Beale's going to throw the kitchen sink at it, hope that Mitchell Welker cracks on the final lap. Can see the carrot dangling on the stick just in front, but the key has been how calm can you keep yourself, and Welker has been doing that to a T all race long. Here is the white flag lap then, here at the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. Belle Isle is the place, and now you would wonder here for Mitchell Welker, how much can he afford to just slow it down and make sure he gets through every corner cleanly. Misses the apex slightly through at turn 3. That's the biggest braking zone on track. It narrows up here through 4, 5 and 6. And the 76 over the very bumpy surface that they have here is doing everything correct. Just keeping it nice and calm, well within the lines. No need to push like a madman because he knows he's got gap and he can use it. For the final time, they exit Strand Drive 1 into the 7-Eleven complex. They come along. They will pass Scott's Fountain there on the right-hand side as they go through, and it's nice and it's neat at this moment as they go through 9, 10 and into 11. That's one of the final danger corners out there. Just 12 and 13 remain. Beale will see that he has done a wonderful job, but just did not have enough to fight it. Through 13 goes Mitchell Welker. Every reason to be excited.
Wow.
His first win of the season, and what an accomplished drive it was.
What a fantastic drive that was indeed. Certainly didn't expect him to claim this one today, but fantastic overall, and Cedric Beale, he's got to be happy.
Congratulations.
Well. And also, big well done to Kent Nielsen.
Great race, Cedric. Thank you.
Absolutely a podium for Kent. It will be a long 40-second wait for the driver who comes home in 4th position. Then as Nielsen just quietly brings it home, there is Christian Grichko in 4th. And what a start for him here in 14th. The team going 1st and 4th there. Getting themselves over towards the line over the last couple of corners. That is exactly what they were hoping for and hoping to see out there on track. It's very nice to put the twister handles there on the left-hand side of the car, and the team on the right there of the cockpit as they make the drive to the line. There's Christian Grichko, who finishes it off in 4th. Just behind him, John Atkinson Jr., last finisher on the lead lap then. He gets over the line in 5th on an up-and-down day, which gets him effectively, you would argue, along a long, windy and sandy beach to a cafe that was closed. But
that's impressive.
Official confirmation of results then are going to be up on your screen for you. What an incredible race we have just seen for a number of different reasons. Mitchell Welker, an hour, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. It's the longest race we've had on the calendar all season long, but he wins it by 1.9 over Cedric Beale, who tried to close him down late, but ran out of laps. Kent Nielsen gets a wonderful podium, did put it in the wall late, but other drivers behind started pushing too hard, and that's how it all throws itself into their certain elements. Christian Grichko with a great 4th place with the final finish on the leading lap. John Atkinson Jr. finishing it off in 5th place. Brian Melito will take 6th, and get this for a driver of the day candidate. Matthias Kaiser one-stop strategy from him. Goes from 23rd to 7th to finish this race out. Liam Buckley finishes it off in 8th, with Mark Van Dalen then in 9th, and Matt Wood putting it in the wall late will be classified as retirement. They're in 10th position. All of these drivers are retirement, so only 9 finishers to this race. Adam Webb, Scott Stigris, they're maybe getting turnabout's fair play after his hit on Lance Larkin, who was trying to keep himself going through. John Pat Kelly then is 14th. He's had technical issues all day long. Christian Steele, Diogo Conceição, Kleber Toffoli, Emilio Fernandez Garrido. The championship leader, Matteo Ugolotti, of course, a big mistake from the lead, which caught Matt Wood out as well. Jan Stratinsky, also a retirement from this race. And these are drivers now on the opening few laps. Tom Minot, Joey Villamaret. Then you've got Christoph Montz, Ryan Cullimore, David Bourbeau, Anish Mehta, and Valentin Milanovici. Then all in trouble on the leading lap. Only made it 2 corners here today. But the final round is tolling for these drivers. Interlagos is the final destination that they will be looking for, and the only place you can check that out is with us here, of course, at Sim Speed TV. It's going to be wonderful to get all of that action for you. Massive thanks, though, has to go to the Virtual Racing School, sponsors of the replays here today. From the team that's worked hard on this behind the scenes, from Jay Kennedy, Scott Fountain, and myself, Jake Sperry, it's been a pleasure to bring you all of this amazing action. And of course, this has been a race which has been a long time coming. One where the form book gets thrown out the window. Belle Isle does it again here with the iRacing Grand Prix Series. And it is going to be Mitchell Welker's time to shine as he finds himself so much success. You can say he was the greatest show on turf as we head over to the final round of the championship next week over at Interlagos.